You're watching Taste the Victory.
What's up, guys? Welcome back. Today we got a very fan favorite list, and that is BlackWarGreymon. Because man, this dude was the coolest guy in Digimon Adventure 02. You guys got to understand, if you weren't around for that time period, early 2000s, that was the peak of the edgy anti-hero character. Good man. Oh. So BlackWarGreymon is here, and there is so many Greymon and Agumon. So basically, there's a ton of ways you can build this deck. You can make it more control. You can make it more OTK. You can make it a mid-range deck. There is tons of ways you can take it, and as always, no YouTuber's word is gospel. You should treat all of these lists as just a baseline to start with, and you should definitely test and make any changes you feel makes your list better. But let's go ahead and start with this BlackWarGreymon list. This is our list, and this one is a bit more OTK focused, because if you know me as a player by now, I am much more unga bunga and love swinging into security and just getting aggressive with my attacks. There is, you can definitely take it into a more control variant, and that works just as well, but this one is a little bit more OTK focused, and because of that, you will notice right away that we don't have too much removal, because we're kind of hoping to just end game and remove like the little nuisances with BlackWarGreymons when Digivolving effect. But there will be tech choices towards the end of the video. Let's start with the boss monster of the deck, and that is arguably the new BlackWarGreymon. But we'll get to why it's arguably in a second. We have when Digivolving, if this Digimon has a red Digivolution card, choose any number of your opponent's Digimon. If this Digimon has a black Digivolution card, choose any number of your opponent's Tamers. The chosen card's play cost must add up to 6 or less. Delete the chosen cards. So you can mix and match like a 3-cost rookie and a 3-cost Tamer and delete both, which makes it really great. There was a lot of hype going into the format for this card just because of that Tamer deletion effect, since people really hated hybrids and they relied on a lot of 3-cost Tamers. And then you have alternates once per turn where an opponent's Digimon is deleted. This is mistranslated. In real life, it is you may unsuspend this Digimon, so it is not mandatory. So when you do delete something, you could unsuspend, so that is really great. And that gets you more potential swings to contribute to the OTK strategy. But however, BlackWarGreymon is not the one that is going to be OTKing. That will be Promo BlackWarGreymon. It has Digiburst 2, which means you have to trash 2 of its sources to activate this effect. Unsuspend this Digimon. So in a deck with Kimeramon, this card goes crazy. Typically you have 5 cards Digivolving up normally into a Mega, but with Kimeramon, you go from that to about 6 to 8 depending on each stack, you know? So you have a lot of sources for BlackWarGreymon to trash, unsuspend, and swing with, and if you have the Greymon in its source, then you get even more swings every time you unsuspend. It's ridiculously crazy. Powerful promo card, really underrated backup mega in this format, but as discussed, there is some text at the end of the video for other megas that you could run instead. Looking at our eggs and making our way up, we have Koromon. It is a very easy condition to meet that lets you draw 1. Red is a color that traditionally does not have a lot of good draw power, so having something that could help us draw this consistently is very good for our deck. Then we have our 5th egg, because we do want a 5th egg for grind games in a format where Mastamon and a Rapid Hybrid is going to be running around a lot. We're going to need that 5th draw. We have Gurimon, which is when attacking once per turn, if this Digimon has 6,000 DP or more, draw 1. Once again, a very easy condition for this deck to meet, so having consistent draws like that is really important. After that, we move on to our rookies, of which we are running 15 because the regional format right now is no mulligans. So, you know, if you're taking this to regionals, you want to make sure you see that rookie. We have the new Black Agumon introduced in BT8. On play, reveal top 4 cards to your deck and add 1 card with Greymon and 1 card with Dragon Kid and his traits among them to your hand. So this synergizes well with Nokia, of which we are running 4, because when Nokia is played, you get to play a Gabumon or a Agumon without paying its memory cost. So having Gabumons to synergize and search like that is really important to keep up your hand advantage and to be able to refill your hand for more plays next turn after you have played out the rookie. That is 1 less rookie that you're going to be able to draw for Digivolution for, so hitting the search off of it is really important. Then we have another Agumon Searcher. Reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 Digimon card with Greymon in its name or Omnimon in its name among them to your hand, so just another Searcher to synergize with Nokia. Then we have the Inheritable Boost Agumons. So this Agumon is a promo card, and it has the Inheritable your turn. While this Digimon has Greymon in its name, it gains plus 2,000 DP. All of our relevant attackers, unless for some reason you have to swing with Kimeramon or Greymon, so it will always get that plus 2000 DP boost. And that is huge, because that 1 extra DP is a big difference to be able to swing over your opponent's Digimon or live over stuff in security. Typically, a usual Digimon Inheritable gives you plus 1000 DP, so having that really easy to meet 2000 is gigantic for this deck. Unfortunately, this is a promo, so it is very expensive and has been long since bought out. So if you can't afford this one, as will be mentioned in the text section, you can run the old other starter deck Agumon. We have another starter deck Agumon. When attacking, when this Digimon attacks a player, it gets plus 2000 DP for the turn. So this synergizes very well with your black promo BlackWarGreymon. Because plus 2000 again is not a very common threshold, and it is a huge DP boost, so really fantastic for the OTK variants of this deck. We move on to our champions, of which we are running 12. We have the new Greymon in black, which is opponent's turn inheritable, while you have a red Digimon in play. This Digimon gains blocker. Keep in mind this does not say other red Digimon, so if you Digivolve into the BlackWarGreymon, which is dual color, it does count itself and gives it blocker, which is really amazing. So having that big dude be a blocker is really good, especially with its ability to unsuspend when you delete something, if you could easily delete something just through blocking. We have 2 Agunimon just to be able to Digivolve over Hybrid for games, since it's more of an OTK variant deck. And then we have this Greymon from Booster Set 5. When Digivolving, if this Digimon has Agumon and its Digivolution cards, gain 1 memory, which synergizes with Nokia's second effect very well, which is to reduce the Digivolution cost if you are Digivolving into a Digimon with Garurumon, Greymon, or Omnimon in its name, because if you have this out, then you can essentially Digivolve over an Agumon for free with this effect. And then you have the inheritable, while this Digimon has Omnimon or Greymon in its traits. This Digimon gets plus 2000 DP. Again, this is great because normally decks do not give you plus 2000 DP so easily, but now this deck has so many ways to get it. Paired with your rookies, the DP boost could be gigantic. It's really important to have that, so it's a nice bonus there. And then we have the starter deck Greymon, which gives you unconditional security attack +1. Putting this under with a Kimeramon is gigantic when you go into promo, and even without it, it is very nice to be aggressive with your security swings. Then we move on to our ultimates. We have MetalGreymon. When Digivolving, Digivolve 1. Then delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3000 DP or less. This is fantastic into the Imperialmon and Armor Rush matchup, so you don't have to worry about purging anything, and you can just delete their rookie after they have purged for whatever reason, or Digivolve them. Then we have inheritable effect. Your turn, while this Digimon has Dragonkin or Machine in its traits, it can also attack your opponent's unsuspended Digimon. So this is amazing with our top end, which is all Dragonkin, you know, so they're all Dragonkin. It's really great with the BlackWarGreymon because you could unsuspend, clear their board, and then maybe keep unsuspending if you have enough sources and start swinging at their security too. So overall, it's really good control aspect to lay back on. Like, you control, this is not built to be the focus, the control variant, but like you still have elements of it there just by the nature of the support of this deck, and it's really good to make sure you can keep up with your opponent. Then we have Kimeramon, because this card is like super glue. It's crazy. You guess it's so generic, so you can just Jogras any of your 2 level 4 stacks, and now you have a ton of sources to go into your promo BlackWarGreymon to be able to swing for game with all the inheritables and stuff. And then its minus DP based on the amount of colors is honestly a really huge effect in this deck, because that is enough to clear some white boards of rookies, like when you face against Armor Rush or something like that, Imperialmon's rookie spam, when people play searchers and stuff, you know? So that is also a really great effect. Kimeramon is so good and generic. The megas have been discussed. Then we have a delicate plan, just a one-of, because even if it gets stuck in security, you'll still see it because it adds itself to hand. You just gotta pray it's not your last security. And then its effect is that it turns off options, which is really important to make sure we don't lose to something like Hammer Spark when you're trying to go for the OTK. Next up, we got 2 memory boosts, because consistency is king in a format that does not have mulligans. So not only does this let you dig deep into your deck by searching the top 4 to add important pieces, you also get to delay it later for 2 memory, which can help you get lethal without passing turn, etc, etc. There is some cards you can bottom deck off of this, unfortunately, since it only grabs red and we have some pure black cards and a white card here, but 9 times out of 10 you're going to be okay, and you're probably searching for a specific piece anyways. Then for our memory timer, we have Marcus. Marcus is so good because it synergizes very well with the name of this deck. You get your guaranteed memory, which is really important to make sure you have big enough memory to make plays. When one of your Digimon with Greymon in its name attacks, you may suspend this tamer to gain 1 memory, which is always nice to have for more big plays. And finally, we've alluded to this card a lot, but Nokia is really important by playing out your Agumons to help with board presence, to help with searching, and then when Digivolving to reduce the cost. We're running 4 because the more the merrier with this card. Eventually, when you get like 3 out, 4 out, you can Digivolve into BlackWarGreymon or any of your Megas for free, essentially, and that is gigantic. And you don't have to just wait for your Megas, you know, Digivolving into an Ultimate for free for 1, it's amazing. Nokia is incredibly valuable to this deck, and I think it's a pretty mandatory 4-of to make sure you see it, to, you know, in hand or in security. Then we got tech choices. We have the Agumon here from the first ever red starter deck. It has your inheritable, your turn. This Digimon gets plus 1000 DP. So if you can't get the promo one that gives you plus 2000 DP, you could definitely get this Agumon. Another very decent Agumon tech is the promo one, which is on play, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3000 DP or less. You can play this with Nokia and clear some of your opponent's searchers, you know, if they're setting up a wide board for lethals, stuff like that. So like 3000 doesn't hit a lot, but it does hit really good, the searcher rookie, so it's worth considering. You can also consider running the Greymon from the starter deck, the Gallantmon starter deck, because it has the security effect to play itself out of security, and then on play delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 4000 DP or less. This is fantastic for the Imperial Dramon matchup because Stingmon and XVmon are both 4000 DP, so if they have to swing with their XVmon because they have that jamming, they feel they're safe, this comes out and deletes it. Now they are so far behind because they probably don't have memory to Jogress DNA Digivolve anymore. So this is really good for that. However, I think if you're running this, you want to run it at F4 to make sure you have good odds of seeing it in your security. But yeah, this is definitely something to consider. Next up, there's quite a few WarGreymons you could also consider running too. Instead of, if you don't want to run promo BlackWarGreymon, you could have the when Digivolving Security Attack +1 WarGreymon from Booster Set 1, because this one also has, this Digimon doesn't activate security skills on option cards, it checks. So it turns off your opponent's options. You know, it's a built-in delicate plan, so that is inherently more consistent than having to hope to draw and spend one memory on your option card, you know. Plus it has the inherent security attack +1 for that turn, so you could swing and be aggressive with it, not worry about options. So it's a very good option as a backup mega if you want to consider running this. There's the X1 WarGreymon, because this one has one Digivolving Blitz, so that could be, you know, the difference between deleting one of your opponent's Digimon or winning game right there in that turn. But then also it has a really funny interaction where when this Digimon attacks a player, if you have a tamer in play, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with blocker. So you're going to be prioritizing your tamers anyways because of Nokia. It doesn't specify a color on that tamer. So when you swing with Blitz, you know, you could delete their Magnamons. It's completely gone. You could delete a lot of X antibody stuff. And really funny, in the mirror, if they have the Greymon inheritable, the black one, this deletes their BlackWarGreymon stack if they've been building up to it. So there is a lot of justification for this WarGreymon because there is a decent amount of blockers, you know. There's a decent amount of blockers you would actually want to hit with this effect in the metagame, so it's pretty funny and something to consider. For tamers, there's also quite a few tech options you can consider. Taikamiya gives you security attack +1 when a Digimon has 4 or more Digivolution cards. So considering this is an OTK strategy, if you really want to lean into it that hard, you could run this over Marcus to get even more security checks. I think the deck has a very enough I think the deck is very good at building its security checks up already as it is, so I'd rather have the extra memory from Marcus to make some plays, but Tai is also very great. And finally, to round out the tech section, we have Hero, the new tamer in Booster Set 8. It is a memory tamer, which is really important, but also when you attack with a Digimon that has Gamamon in its name or a level 5 or higher Digimon, you may suspend this tamer to have one of your Digimon get +2000 DP for the turn. So this is really interesting because of the +2000 DP threshold, making a lot of your Digimon pretty huge. You can kind of safely swing with your MetalGreymon because it is 8000 DP. This puts that at 10k. That's pretty decent threshold to swing into security in this format, but also lets you swing over some of your opponent's Digimon, you know. And then also, if you really need the draw off of the Gurimon, this puts up basically all of your champions at 6000 DP or more, which is the threshold it needs to be able to draw off its open attacking effect. So if you're really bricking, you really need that draw, this adds more consistency to that effect to get it live early game. So there is justification in there too. And finally, it's the Blitz Omnimon from Booster Set 5, because this is an OTK deck, so sometimes you will be just one more swing away from attacking security for games. So with this being able to unsuspend itself and then Blitz, you could basically win out of nowhere. So it's definitely something important to consider if you can find the space for it. But that is going to be the list and the tech choices that you can consider. There is a lot of ways to build this deck, and being such a cool Digimon, I think that's going to make this deck really popular. Let me know how you guys are building your BlackWarGreymons, because I know it's completely different. I've seen so many variants, and I love seeing everyone's different lists. Let me know what's working for you guys, what you liked or disliked, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, remember to stay hungry until you get a taste of victory.